Hey guys, it's Faye from Solar Flow and I am back with an all new video. Today's topic is a deep dive behind the veil energy read into Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez, the duo with the original moniker Bennifer. So if that sounds good to you, please stick around, and if not, I will catch you at another video. Now, before we dive in and explore the relational dynamics between them on an energetic level, we're first going to explore just a little bit of 3D information into them. Now, this is information that I've acquired off of their Wikipedia page, and I remind you, it's not the full breadth and scope of what is written there. It's just enough so we can get to understand them on a three-dimensional level, maybe just a little bit more. So we're going to first start with that, and then we're going to transition into the energy read. So we're going to start with Ben, then we'll do Jen, which I'm sure she would be devastated about, and then we're going to do the energy. So Benjamin Affleck, born on August 15th, 1972, is an American actor and filmmaker. He began his career as a child when he starred in a PBS educational series. He later went on to appear in indie comedies, but gained wider attention when he and Matt Damon won an Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay for a film they also starred in by the name of Good Will Hunting. He established himself as a leading man and later went on to direct films as well, starting with 2007's Gone Baby Gone. To date, he has won 2 Academy Awards, 2 BAFTA Awards, and 3 Golden Globes. Now, Ben and Jen, prior to their reconciliation most recently, they had previously dated in 2002 until 2004, during which time they became engaged. Then they postponed their wedding, and then they called it off. Ben then went on to date Jennifer Garner, who he married in 2005 until they split in 2018, during which time they had 3 kids together. Ben and Jen, J.Lo, reunited in 2021. They were engaged in 2022. They married later that same year in 2022 in Las Vegas, Nevada. They then separated in April 2024, and J.Lo very recently filed for divorce in August of 2024. Now, Ben Affleck has an estimated net worth of $150 million. Let's now explore some 3D information on Jennifer Lopez. Jennifer Lopez, born July 24th, 1969, known by J.Lo, is an American actress, singer, dancer, and businesswoman. She, according to her Wikipedia page, she is regarded as one of the most influential Latin entertainers of all time. She began her career as a dancer before becoming an actress, before transitioning into the music industry, and she was the first woman to simultaneously have a #1 album and the #1 film in the US at the same time. And this was her album J.Lo and a movie by the name of The Wedding Planner. She has sold over 80 million records. She has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. She has a lifestyle brand, beauty and fashion lines, fragrances, a production company, and a charitable foundation. Now, we're going to explore some of her previous relationships, which is ample. So she was first married to a Cuban waiter, Ohani Noah, from 1997 until 1998. She had an on and off again relationship with P. Diddy from 1999 until 2001. After that, she married her former backup dancer, a man named Chris Judd, from 2001 until 2003. She had her first relationship with Ben Affleck before her divorce from Chris Judd was finalized And as I had mentioned previously, that was from 2002 until 2004. After that, she married singer Mark Anthony in 2004. Are you starting to notice a pattern here? Like there's hardly any breathing room. It's like she gets out of one relationship and she immediately hops into another one. There's like in the same year, in fact. So again, she married singer Mark Anthony in 2004 until they finalized their divorce in 2014. Now during that time, they had fraternal twins. Even though they did not officially divorce until 2014, they did separate in 2011. They filed for divorce in 2012, and it was finalized in 2014. She then had an on and off relationship with her former backup dancer, a man named Casper Smart. I'm sorry, every time I see that name, I think of Casper the Ghost. Anyway, from 2011 until 2016. So she separated from Mark Anthony in 2011 and she hopped right into a relationship with Casper. She then dated New York Yankees baseball player Alex Rodriguez from 2017 until 2021, during which time they also became engaged. And then after they split up in 2021, she cycled right back over to Ben Affleck again. Now, J.Lo has an estimated net worth as of 2019 of $400 million. That concludes the 3D information sharing on them. Now let's get into the energy read on them, starting with Ben Affleck. So Ben Affleck, as soon as I connect to his energy, he tells me, he comes through the gate a-roaring. He is ready to go. He's ready to spill the tea. So Ben Affleck tells me he and Jen were obsessed and in love with the idea of each other. So if you will, a modern day story of unrequited or incomplete love. A love that stood the test of time. A love so deep, they just had to reconnect 20 years later. Because who doesn't want that? Or at the very least, who doesn't want to read about that? Now, Ben next shared with me that Jennifer is not stupid. But she is also very into herself and her perceived wonderfulness. So of course, she wanted this for herself. She wanted the modern day fairy tale story of a love that was so deep that they just had to reconnect 20 years later. Because Jen wanted the world to look at her so adoringly and think how special she must be. For Ben to carry a torch for her all those years later, that they even married in Vegas without prenups, without attorneys, because they just couldn't wait. Except, Ben tells me, it was all bullshit. Now, this is not the BS where they are just pawns on a chessboard being controlled by the powers that be in the Hollywood industry above them or the music industry that is orchestrating these relationships between celebrities. And if you want to learn more about this, I have a video that I have linked down below on both the music industry as well as the Hollywood industry. So if this is the first you're hearing about this and you're like, wait, there's orchestrated relationships? I gotcha. Go back and watch those videos. So he's sharing with me, this was not that kind of a BS relationship where they were just pawns on a chessboard and they were put together by handlers. Because Lord knows, according to Ben, they had paid their dues and then some. And begrudgingly, he even admitted to me that Jen really did. He did too, for sure, but even more so Jen. So because they had paid their dues and they were at the point in their life where they could have their own relationships, they were free to do as they wanted to, and this was that. They wanted to come together all of these years later. But Ben also shared with me that Jen is really part of the system. And her brain has been, I love the way he shared this with me. Her brain has been infected by it because she sees everything now through some sort of a strategic lens and knew that being with Ben would really be something. Plus, he acknowledges that Jen is really next level jealous. And she really never got over them breaking up in 2003 and for him to then go on and marry Jennifer Garner. The sting to Jennifer, J.Lo, not Garner, was like an eternal thorn in her side. And it was like, imagine just that place on your back that you can't quite reach, no matter how hard you try to, you just can't quite get that thorn out. That's what it was like to J.Lo. She could feel it, she knew it, she was aware of it. It was the eternal thorn in her side that would needle her, that she just could not access and get out. Like in J.Lo's mind, she was like, you left me, J.Lo, a goddess. You left me? You left this for her? A pauper? It was an insult she just could not get over. So the only way, according to Ben, for J.Lo to get over it was to win him again and marry him. Because in her mind, somehow, that would show that she was the better Jennifer all along. But look, he was with Jen Garner for over a decade, and there was a real life that was shared there, including 3 children. So at least Ben Affleck looks at Jennifer Garner like there was something significant there. But he also recognized how getting back together with Jennifer Lopez could be useful. And he semi-loved her as well, or at least his conceptual understanding of what love is. But it wasn't long before J.Lo started slamming doors in his face and giving him the cold shoulder. And he got it. She'd won. J.Lo had won. And thus, it wouldn't be long before she would get bored of her new puppy and would be on the prowl for a new one. Monkey vining from one relationship to the next. And Ben says that's fine. The relationship that they had together, the reemergence of Bennifer 2.0, but not where it's Bennifer 2.0 because he's now with a different Jennifer Garner, but he has reunited with Jennifer Lopez for their second coming. It served its purpose because, according to Ben, it had rehabilitated his image after splitting from Jen Garner. And it also suits his victim status and mentality. Now, this is where I'm going to remind you, this is not a conscious thought that he is having in his mind. It's not like he's sharing with me, well, there goes one of my crystals. It's not like he's sharing with me, I perceive myself to be a victim, therefore this somehow is going to reinforce my victim status. It's a subconscious thought that he has in his mind. It's a subconscious lens in the way in which he views himself. He views his position in the world and the way in which he will view his position in all subsequent and future relationships as well. This is not a conscious thought that he has. It is a subconscious one. But because when I'm connecting to somebody's energy, I'm not literally talking to them verbally the way I'm communicating with you and anyone who's going to watch my videos or anyone I talk to in my day-to-day life. This is where I'm connecting to the highest version of the person, the expression of that person, a part that resides, let's say, in energetic escrow with God. So this version of themselves is not limited by the way in which our mind operates, or the way in which we are veiled, or the way in which we choose to perceive our place and our position within the world. So because I'm connecting to the highest expression of Ben Affleck's energy, it's him sharing this with me with the understanding that yes, because again, he is not veiled. This is the highest version of himself, the version that's not veiled, the version that doesn't live in delusion about themselves or exclusion of the way in which they want to perceive themselves. Because I'm connecting to the highest version of him, there's no veils. So he can share with me, he understands that the relationship served its purpose because it had rehabilitated his image after splitting up from Jen Garner. And that's fine because it suits his victim status and his mentality. And I'm just going to pause here and I'm going to say, if this is also, again, the first time you're hearing about this concept of like a higher self, what does that mean? How can I connect to the highest version of somebody? How is that superseding the way in which I would communicate with them on a three-dimensional level? I have also linked a video down below in which I have explained all of this and laid it out. And then Ben later went on to share with me that no matter how broken he is or how broken he seems to be, there will always be another pretty little lady that wants to save him, to help him fix his broken little heart and to help him see color again. Because truly, every ending is just some other's beginning. Just ask J.Lo about that. Now that concludes the energetic exchange that I had with Ben Affleck. Let's now check in with J.Lo and see what she wanted to share with me. So as soon as I connected to J.Lo's energy, she huffs at me, like, huh, like you again? Because this is not the first time I have visited her energy. And yes, I have linked down below a previous AMA in which I have looked into J.Lo's energy. I aim to please. So she huffs at me, like you again. So I smile and I tell her, me again. And I ask her if she wants to talk, but I already know she does. And she will always want to talk with me or any other energy reader that attempts to connect to her energy, because she just cannot help it. She loves attention. She loves it so much, in fact, that every morning she searches online to see if anything new has been written about her. And she even has a personal assistant that keeps track of all of the articles written about her on a weekly basis. She really does, and she even has a spreadsheet in which she keeps track and monitors all of these things. Now, Jennifer tells me she wouldn't say that she's obsessed with herself, but according to her, for branding purposes, it's important to know what people say about you. So I tell her, this is all very interesting, but surely she knows why I've come to connect to her energy again. So she rolls her eyes and says, Ben, that thorn in my side, dramatically like that. And then proceeds to tell me he has been obsessed with her all these years. And of course, she's not surprised that he's been obsessed with her, because what they had was extraordinary and special. Really, it was a once in a millennia kind of love story. But the timing, it wasn't right. And before, there was so much pressure of Ben being with a high-profile woman. And that really, really got to Ben. So he had ended it back in 2003 because of the mounting pressure of being with Jennifer. And then, after he ended it with her, he went on to have a quiet little life with that one. That is what J.Lo calls Jennifer Garner. She calls her that one. So after he ended it with a J.Lo, because he couldn't handle the pressure of being with a high-profile woman like her, he had gone on to have a quiet little life with that one. And she had wrinkled her nose when she had said it to me, like that one, with disdain in her mouth. But of course, Ben just couldn't stay away from her. And she says this to me like Ben is a man that just cheated on his diet and he couldn't stay away from a donut. And she doesn't say it like she's understanding that this is a sentient man who was in a long-term relationship with another woman that produced kids, and that this was over 20 years ago, and that he had had a full life during that time. So she says it in an incredibly dismissive way, as if to imply during all of that time that they have been apart, roughly about 20 years, Ben has done nothing other than think about J.Lo and pine after her. So I ask her, this is like a once-in-a-millennia love story, J.Lo. What went wrong then this time around? And she told me it was Ben's immaturity and the pressure of being married to her. So before it was the pressure of being in a relationship with a high-profile woman. Now it was the pressure of being married to a high-profile woman. But one could make the claim, certainly, that she is even more high-profile now than she had been back in 2001 and 2003 and during the relation of their relationship. You see what's kind of going on here? It's like it's the same pressure. And you're even more high profile now. So why get back into another relationship? But again, he couldn't stay away. Ben just couldn't stay away from her. And it was his immaturity, because she's a lot of woman to handle. And after coming from that one, Jennifer Garner, again, I did it. I'm an expert. Somebody, like, if you need to hire me to like come up with character names for a book or like a series that you're working on, I would be an expert at it, because I somehow managed to say Garnez, mishmashing Garner and Lopez together. I mean, I can come up with monikers. People Magazine, contact me. Anyway, so she again tells me, backtracking here, that it was Ben's immaturity because she's a lot of woman to handle after coming from that one, Jennifer Garner, who again, she refuses to name. J.Lo absolutely refuses to use Jennifer Garner's name. She just calls her that one. And she wasn't sure. J.Lo shares with me, she wasn't sure if he was up for being with her this time around. But he really wore her down, and he even won over her kids. And he told her he just wanted to be with her. Never mind a prenup. Never mind attorneys, because it's not like they were going to get divorced anyway. Whoever thinks that's a good idea. Because it was just them and their love story. And God damn it, she really is a fool for love and for a love story. Because why do I think she's been in so many relationships and marriages, she asks me. It's because she's always looking for her love story. But why is her love story so elusive? She ponders to herself, like I'm just a wall. So I ask her if she has ever thought of maybe being by herself. Maybe just for a little while, like right after getting out of a relationship, before quickly hopping into another one. Maybe just be alone for like a minute, literally. So she asks me, why would she ever do that? Because didn't I hear her telling me she's looking for her love story? So I answer her and I say, to heal, to be, to breathe, to just exist by herself, so she knows she doesn't have to be in a relationship because she can't be alone. But she's choosing to be in a relationship because it's the right partner for her. And she tells me she doesn't have to heal. And if she's alone, how can she find her next partner? So she has to be out there and date, because how else will her next partner find her? Now, as an aside, J.Lo doesn't know that she is literally asking the same question that every homebody introvert has asked themselves. How can my ideal partner find me if I'm always home alone and on my sofa? Except we don't have the body count that she does, but still, aside over. So I tell her, I get it. I really do. But because J.Lo doesn't care about anybody else's perspective, and why I'm sharing with her that I get it, because I am a homebody introvert and I think the same thing sometimes. So I just tell her I get it. I really do. But also I tell her I get it, and I really do, because I know that J.Lo is just not going to listen, because her life is predetermined by her fixed mindset. And she is really not somebody that is open to new ideas or new information or new opinions, because it's just got to be her way. The end. And since she clearly already knows everything there is to know about her next relationship and how to get into it, and why she monkey vines, she won't use this word, but why she essentially just hops from one ruined relationship into another one, because she already knows it, she is as immovable as a mountain. So I ask her, what then is she to do? And she tells me maybe there is no happily ever after for her, because maybe there's just no man special enough for her. She's throwing a little pity party. But on the off chance that there is, she just has to keep trying. And while I do not say this to her, I think to myself, and after your next relationship ends, J.Lo, I'll be back to check in on that and to find out what went wrong there. Because along with the absolutes that I know, which is the sun rises in the east and it sets in the west, taxes are stupid, and one day my body will cross over. My soul will cross over because my body will be unalived. I absolutely also know she will date again, break up again, and that will happen again and again and again. So that concludes the energy reading with J.Lo. which also concludes the energy reading in this video. I hope that you have enjoyed it and found it to be maybe entertaining at the very least, maybe a little bit insightful or thought-provoking. And I remind you to please take what resonates and to leave the rest behind. And as always, and until next time, to stay in the high vibration.